only after you leave and then stop trying, I think, will they realize where they went wrong. Let's put it this way. There's a person who is very, very toxic. They're very negative. They have aspects about themselves that they want to change. Or they don't want... No. They have aspects about themselves and certain personality traits about themselves that don't click with other people, that make them a very hard person to deal with. You look at that person, you see how they act, you see how they are, you see problems with it, and you want to fix those problems. But this is the frustrating thing about life, is people are the hardest thing to fix. There's nothing more complicating, there's nothing more harder to fix than a person. Friendship and being the support pillars that keep a person going, while placing those support pillars there to be there for someone and to support them is noble to begin with, and while that is a good thing and that is a good choice, supporting people, specific people, different types of people, is good, and it's fun, and it definitely makes you feel good, because you feel like you're making the world a better place. You feel like you're the good guy, you're doing a good job, you're doing your best. Sometimes where you place those supports, sometimes the thing you're trying to hold up, sometimes isn't worth holding up. But this is the thing, is say you do take those supports away, and just letting them see if they can withstand looking themselves in the mirror, because they're only gonna, that mirror that I'm talking about is only gonna pop up out of nowhere once you let them start dropping. The structure is collapsing. You realize that, they realize that, or maybe they don't. Doesn't matter. They should. Depending on the person, that structure is going to crumble down, and it's going to stay crumbled down for a very long time. But time, being a bizarre thing, it may put itself back together someday. Sometimes it'll magically bring itself back up. Sometimes the only way it can get back up is with the help of other people, only if it calls for that help. Or sometimes it's like jelly. It'll fall, it'll start crumbling, and right before it hits rock bottom, it'll realize that everything's going to collapse. So it's going to bounce right back up, and in a panic, in a spree to stay alive, it's going to look for the supports that lasted the longest, that did their best. It's going to get those supports, and it's going to call them back. This is my point about being one of those support pillars. Sometimes letting the thing fall, sometimes that's going to hurt, because it feels like something you've helped contribute to, something you've helped build crumble to the ground. Nobody likes seeing something that they own or something that is them fall. Nobody enjoys it because it's yours, it's your thing, you like it. And you're struggling, you're putting all your manpower into holding this thing up. But that's the thing, is you're holding it up. It's above you, you're holding it up, you're putting your energy into it, right? You can't see how the top of it is looking down on you. You can't see that. The only way you're going to be able to see it is if you let it go. So it goes down, and then you can look it in the eyes. Then you'll see how it looks back at you. And if it wants you badly enough, it'll call you back. Don't get me wrong. People, it's okay to have little friends. There's nothing wrong with having little amounts of friends. There's nothing wrong with that. Having friends is great. It doesn't matter how many. Just having them is great. As long as you have them, that's good. Because then you have people who care. You don't have to stop caring. I'm not saying stop caring. I'm just saying sometimes caring can be a little self-destructive. Well, when it's starting to become a self-destructive habit, it's healthy to realize that. Obviously, you're going to feel guilty, but because you've come to terms with the fact and accepted the fact that you're a person who feels guilty about a lot of things, especially the things you shouldn't. Because I said this to someone on VR chat who was going through some emotional things. I said to them, I was like, there's something healthy in sitting there and realizing that this is a problem. People don't get to that stage. Those are the people who really need help, who have problems, but they either don't see it or they don't want to look it in the eye. While helping other people is fun, and while helping other people is great, you're not going to be able to help everybody. That much is certain. You will never, ever be able to help everybody. Ever. And that's a harsh and a sad thing to accept. But the world's gonna go through a lot of fucked up stuff. There's a lot of fucked up stuff happening right now. There's a lot of fucked up stuff that's happened and will happen in the future. A lot of messed up stuff that we're not going to be able to stop no matter how hard we try. Young people always want to change the world. That's something that's been proven throughout the course of history. That's something that studies have definitely shown. In terms of societal reform and global change, young people are often the most ambitious. They're often the ones who always want to change the world, change the whole magnitude of things. Because young people often see the problems that older people don't. Except we can't fix them, because we're not as experienced in life as they are. Helping people is fun, and helping people is great, and you should always strive to help people. Never give up that fight. Giving up that fight is knowing when you've been wronged so often by other people in your life that the sickingness, the bitterness, the evilness within others has truly gotten the best of you, because you've let that malice from them come out and affect you. And in the long run, that's just the world getting the better of you. That's just the world kicking you in the ass and then laughing at you as you're on the ground. Because it knows that it's finally... It's done what it's done every single day of the week, and that's take another little bit of good out of this world. Because the world's really good at that. The world's really good at that. Taking kindness out of it, piece by little piece, just every little bit. The world's really good at it. And it's not going to stop doing it. It's going to get better and better and better at it, if anything, thanks to the internet and all sorts of stuff like that. But it's also, humanity's fault too, humans' fault. But this is the thing. Bitterness and evilness and hatred and all that funny stuff is because, you know what? That stuff is going to become so common, or people are going to dive into those things so much, and bad people are going to continue being bad people, to the point where even the baddest people are going to stop and realize that they've done a lot of wrong stuff. And then in the end, often when it's too late for them, or when it's not, those people who have done those bad things are going to sit there, think about it, and then look at you and me and all kinds of other people. They're going to look back at us, the ones who are being wronged, and think, maybe I should have been more like them. At some point in your life, you're probably going to end up being a support for one of those people. Because you're going to see someone going through things in life, you're going to see someone going through bad things in life, and you're going to pity them, you're going to sympathize with them, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is precisely what I learned there's nothing wrong with helping people. There's nothing wrong with trying to help people. Your first choice, your first option, should always be to try and help the person. That should be your first goal. That should be your first pick. I'm going to try and help you. Because you know what? 90% of the time, I shouldn't say this, when you help people, certain people will want to help back. That feels normal. That feels like a genuine human interaction. That feels what you should do. But not everybody feels that way. Something that you invest your time in originally that you think is good may end up be bad. Like it may be bad. You may be investing in your time in a mistake. A mistake, or someone who's making those choices, is only going to continue being that as long as they choose to be. So you don't have to be standing beside them every step of the way, every shitty choice they make, because then in the long run, you're just going down that same road that they're going down, and you don't want that. In the end, that's just throwing away your self-worth to help them and fuel them in a road that they should be experiencing themselves, because that's the only way they're actually going to learn. It's going to hurt them more, a lot more, as it usually does, and it's going to sting a little bit for you. But that's when realizing self-worth comes into play, and that's often, as I stated previously, very hard to do. because there's no harder recovery than to recover by yourself. But that's precisely where your friends come in. And you know what? Getting back up off the ground with the help of your friends is so much easier than people think. It really is, especially when they show you how much they care. You want to know how hard it is to get up off the ground when you don't got those friends? Damn near impossible. That's when you get desperate. That's when you experience genuine misery, loneliness. Because you know that you got no crutches to help you stand up, and even if you do get up, which is a dream at this point, what are you getting back up for? Got no one there to stand beside you. But that's my point, though, is some people who've experienced genuine friendship at any point in their life, it doesn't matter how early on, if they've experienced it once, they're going to remember it. So, next time they hit rock bottom, whether they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, doesn't matter. Next time they hit it, they're going to do one of two things. They're going to hit rock bottom and they're going to realize just how important and valuable you were and come crawling back to you, and that's when you get the choice to lift them back up or not. Or they're going to sit there once they've hit the bottom of the barrel, wallow in their own misery, cry about it, sit there, be miserable about it, accept the fact that they've hit rock bottom and give in to their inner demons, their inner malevolence, and just really end up hurting people for the sake of hurting people because they know that people weren't there. But thankfully, since there are so many people on this planet, I have a feeling that eventually, and you don't gotta be this person, it takes a lot of guts and a lot of balls to be this person. So it's not a task I recommend anybody try right off the bat, but eventually that person will be given unconventional love. So while you don't have to stop caring, I'm not saying you have to do that, because I didn't stop caring, I still do care. You just sometimes need to stop putting the effort in and being the one who's always reaching your hand out. Because if nobody's going to take it, then you're just hurting yourself. Because one of two things will happen, as I said. They're going to come running back to you someday and realize that, you know, I waited too long, I apologize. And then you get the option for forgiveness. Or, and this is the option that obviously, this isn't the fun option, but they're just gonna not care. And that's when you have to come to terms and accept the fact that you tried.